Polynomials are expressions that have numbers, variables, exponents. We have three specific types of polynomials. A monomial is a polynomial that only has one term, so like 5x, one term. I could just have a single number, 10. I could have multiple variables, and we could also have exponents. So these are examples of monomials. One single term, no plus or minus signs. Binomials would be, the prefix bi means two, so something with two terms, like that. 2x is one term, 1 is another term. Another example would be 3x to the power of 5 minus 2x cubed. Two terms, one term, two terms. Finally, a trinomial would be something with three terms, so like 3x to the power of 4 minus 7x squared plus 1. Things to remember, terminology-wise with polynomials, the number in front of a variable is called a coefficient, and a number without a variable is called a constant. When looking at expressions and determining if they are polynomials or not, coefficients and constants can be any number. It can be decimals, fractions, positive, negative, does not matter. What matters are the exponents on the variables. So specifically, the exponents on the variables will tell you if it is a polynomial or not. An expression is not a polynomial if the exponent is negative, or if the exponent on the variable is a fraction. So examples where you would see a negative exponent would be something like this: 3x, 3 over x. Well, I don't see any negatives here. However, the reason why this x is in the denominator is because when it was written in the numerator, it was 3x to the power of negative 1. Negative exponents are not acceptable. So what you do when you have a negative exponent, you would simplify it by moving it to the denominator, and that would make it negative. So right here we have a negative exponent, so that would not be a polynomial. Another example, let's say you have 4 over x squared. Well, that's not a polynomial, because if you move that back up to the top, you would have 4x to the power of negative 2, and you have a negative exponent. So when determining if an expression is not if it's a polynomial or not, look to see if you have any variables in denominators, because when they're written in numerator position, they actually have a negative. The other thing is a polynomial, an expression is not a polynomial if the variable has a fraction exponent. So if you see something written like this, x cubed, that's fine, plus 2x squared, that's fine, plus x to the power of 1/2, that's not fine. Fraction exponent cannot have. Sometimes fraction exponents can be hidden. For example, if you see something like square root of x, that means the same thing as x to the power of 1/2. So a root means fraction exponent, so be very careful with that. So for example, let's see you have an expression 3x cubed minus the square root of x. This term looks fine, but right here you have, it would actually be minus x to the power of 1/2, and you can't have a fraction exponent.